the air in the arena didn't just change, it curdled. To understand the magnitude of what we witnessed, you have to understand the psychological warfare Drew McIntyre has been waging for months. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was a systematic assassination of Cody Rhodes' character. Every week, McIntyre stood in that ring with the Undisputed Championship draped over his shoulder like a trophy of conquest, calling Cody a corporate puppet, a man who was more concerned with shaking hands and kissing babies than actually holding the gold. He mocked the Nightmare logo, he mocked the neck tattoo, and most unforgivably, he mocked the tears Cody shed when he finally achieved his dream. Tonight, the debt for those insults was collected in full, and the interest was paid in blood. The calm before the massacre. When the show went to air, the energy was already at a fever pitch. Fans were draped over the barricades, holding signs that ranged from Cody's kingdom to McIntyre rules. But as the champion made his way to the ring, the atmosphere shifted from excitement to a heavy, suffocating dread. Drew wasn't just walking, he was sauntering. He grabbed a microphone, and the vitriol that spewed out was toxic. He looked directly into the lens and told the millions watching at home that Cody Rhodes had lost his edge, that he was playing wrestler while Drew was being a god. "I broke the shield," Drew roared, his voice echoing off the rafters. "I broke the lineage. And tonight, I'm going to break the spirit of the man who thinks he's the hero of the story. Cody, you're not a hero. You're a footnote." The crowd erupted in a chorus of boos so loud the ring seemed to vibrate. And then, the silence happened. It wasn't the silence of an empty room, it was the silence of a predator holding its breath. The breach of sanity. When the lights cut out, the production crew scrambled. This wasn't a programmed cue. The Kingdom theme didn't play. There was no smoke, no mirrors, just the terrifying reality of a man who had decided that the rules of engagement no longer applied. When the spotlight finally flickered back on, it didn't find Cody on the stage. It found him in the third row, dressed in a black hoodie, looking less like a superstar and more like an urban legend. The look in Cody's eyes wasn't anger. It was a cold, detached vacuum of emotion. He vaulted the barricade with a speed that caught the veteran McIntyre completely off guard. The first strike wasn't a punch, it was a forearm shiver that sounded like a butcher's cleaver hitting a slab of meat. McIntyre stumbled back, the shock on his face more prominent than the pain. He tried to swing the undisputed title, a desperate move from a man who realized he was no longer the hunter, but Cody ducked, grabbed the champion by the throat, and drove him into the corner with a force that nearly snapped the turnbuckles. A symphony of violence. The assault moved to the outside, and this is where the nightmare truly began. Cody grabbed a steel chair, but he didn't use it for a standard shot. He wedged McIntyre's arm into the chair and slammed it against the ring post. The scream that left Drew's lungs was something you don't hear in sports entertainment. It was the sound of genuine agony. The security team, led by a frantic head of talent relations, tried to intervene. Cody didn't even look at them. He grabbed the first guard by the collar and launched him over the announce table. He backbody dropped another onto the concrete floor. He was a whirlwind of calculated destruction. He wasn't just hitting Drew, he was dismantling the very idea of the undisputed champion. Backstage, we caught a glimpse of the locker room on the monitors. You could see the younger talent staring in wide-eyed terror, while the veterans like Seth Rollins and Randy Orton stood in grim silence. They knew that the good guy had finally reached the end of his rope, and heaven help anyone caught in the fray. The announce table execution. The climax of the attack was cinematic in its brutality. Cody dragged a bleeding, semi-conscious McIntyre toward the broadcast position. He cleared the table with a violent snarl, throwing monitors worth thousands of dollars into the front row like they were trash. He hoisted the 270-pound Scotsman onto his shoulders. The crowd was screaming, some begging him to stop, others chanting one more time. Cody paused. He looked at the camera, his face splattered with McIntyre's blood, and whispered two words that sent chills down the spine of everyone watching: "My turn." He leaped. The Cross Rhodes through the table wasn't just a move, it was an execution. The wood splintered into 1,000 jagged pieces. The metal frame buckled. Dust and debris filled the air as both men lay in the wreckage. But while Drew remained motionless, his eyes rolled back in his head, Cody stood up. He stood amongst the ruins of the announce desk, his chest heaving, looking down at the fallen king. The aftermath and the silence. The medical team rushed down with a backboard and a neck brace. The referee, usually so authoritative, stood 10 feet away, too terrified to approach the American Nightmare. Cody didn't even look at the championship belt that had fallen near his feet. To him, the gold was secondary now. This was about a total loss of respect. This was about showing the world that even the most patient man has a demon living inside him. As the paramedics loaded McIntyre onto the stretcher, the arena fell into a haunting hush. You could hear the clicking of cameras and the distant sound of sirens outside the building. Cody followed the stretcher up the ramp, his shadow stretching long and dark over the broken champion. He didn't say a word. He didn't celebrate. He just watched. This wasn't just a moment for YouTube clips. This was a seismic shift in the industry. The Cody Rhodes who walked out of the building tonight is not the same man who walked in. He has traded his suit for a shroud, and his smile for a sneer. The Undisputed Championship is still around Drew's waist technically, but the aura of invincibility is gone. The question that remains: what do we do now? How does a company control a man who has decided that he no longer cares about the consequences? How does Drew McIntyre look into the mirror tomorrow morning knowing that he pushed the nice guy too far and lost everything in the process? This is the most dangerous Cody Rhodes we have ever seen. He's not looking for a 5-star match. He's looking for a body count. The road to the next premium live event isn't just paved with gold, it's paved with the wreckage of the Scottish Warrior's ego. If your heart is still pounding as fast as ours, you know this is history in the making. This was the night the nightmare became a reality. We want to hear from you. Did Drew McIntyre deserve this for his months of disrespect, or did Cody Rhodes just cross a line that can never be uncrossed? Is this the beginning of the end for the Undisputed Champion's reign? Sound off in the comments below. We're reading every single one of them. If you want to stay updated on every breaking detail, every backstage report, and every medical update on Drew McIntyre, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to Wrestling Apocalypse, and ring that notification bell. The world of wrestling is burning, and we've got the best seat in the house. This is Wrestling Apocalypse, where the stories never end, they just get more violent. We'll see you in the fallout.